Would I be the a-hole if I broke up with my fiancé so he could be happier with my sister? I, 25 female, have been engaged to my fiancé, 28 male, for about a month now. He's honestly amazing. He's kind, thoughtful, successful, and way out of my league. I love him so much. But lately, I've been thinking that maybe I'm not the right person for him, and maybe my sister Tara, 27 female, would be better for him. Tara is everything I'm not. She's beautiful, smart, outgoing, and honestly the type of woman that turns heads wherever she goes. She's always been the favorite in our family. My parents adore her, and she's always making them proud. Ever since my fiancé came into the picture, it's like my family has started hinting that they think he'd be happier with her. When I first introduced him to my family, they couldn't stop talking about how perfect he is. At first, I thought it was just normal family excitement, but it's gotten kind of weird. My mom constantly makes comments like, "Tara and your fiancé just have so much in common," and my dad has said things like, "It's a shame Tara didn't meet someone like him sooner. They'd make a power couple." At family gatherings, Tara and my fiancé seem to get along really well, and everyone keeps pointing it out. My aunt actually said, if your sister ever decides she's ready for a serious relationship, she'd be lucky to find a guy like him, while staring directly at them as they talked. I laughed it off, because what else could I do? I know Tara's incredible, and honestly, I'm just not sure I'm the right person for him. Tara's also been spending a lot of time with him, and my family keeps encouraging it. She'll ask him to help with things like fixing her computer or moving furniture, and when I offer to come, she says, "No, it's fine, I just need him for a quick favor." They have been spending time at the gym and attend similar events due to having similar jobs. My mom always says how nice it is that they're bonding, and my dad once joked, "Maybe you're just holding him back, sweetheart. Tara's more on his level." I know they mean well, but it's really starting to mess with my head. My fiancé loves me. I know he does. But I can't help but think that maybe he'd be happier with someone like Tara. They're both so similar, and I feel like I'm just not good enough. I'm not as confident or outgoing as her, and I think my family sees that too. At our last family dinner, Tara made a comment about how my fiancé is the perfect guy and how any woman would be lucky to have him. My dad actually laughed and said, "Well, there's still time for that," which made everyone awkwardly laugh, even my fiancé. I felt sick. I've been thinking, maybe it would be better for everyone if I just step aside. I don't want to hold him back from being with someone who's actually his equal. My family already seems to think they're better suited for each other. And honestly, I feel like I'm the odd one out in my own relationship. I love him so much, but what if he's just settling for me? Would I be the a-hole for breaking up with him to make everyone else happy? I'm not asking about me and my feelings. I'm asking if it would be cruel to my fiancé. Now for the top comments. They do not freaking mean well. Damn, get yourself some therapy if you see what they're doing as a caring thing. Stop putting up with these people. Talk to your fiancé about what you're feeling. OP, you need to realize that you are deserving of good things. Therapy can help with your self-confidence and realizing that your family has not been supportive or healthy for you. Wishing you well. Also, you may be the balance he desires. Being with someone just like you can be tiresome. He asked you, you said yes. If you still love him, don't throw him away. That would be cruel. Also, the sister is probably not that great if she's going along with this nonsense. OP has been treated like crap for too long to see it. They don't mean well at all. What a bunch of snakes. I'm so sorry you have to put up with BS like that. How does your fiancé react? My fiancé laughs with them. He may only be doing that because he thinks he's supposed to. Do you laugh along too? Have you ever talked to him? Honestly, you shouldn't get married to anyone if you can't have open communication. I've never laughed at the comments. They hurt me deeply and have been happening since I was 8. They aren't funny to me. You don't get to decide who's better for him. That's his decision. And he chose you. Your family is horrible for making you feel this way. I'm so sorry that they did. You are more than worthy of all the love that is currently yours. Please talk to your fiancé before making any rash decisions. Just ask him, Have you noticed how my family keeps hinting Tara's a better match for you than I am? See where the conversation goes from there. He may be relieved that he's not imagining it, or embarrassed, or weirded out. Edit. Thank you for all the replies. I'm going to sit down with my fiancé at noon for a discussion. I understand why this would make me an a-hole to him, and I think he deserves the conversation. Thank you again. Update/edit. I was quiet for a while because I had to move his stuff out of my apartment. I'm hurting so bad, and I think this may hurt more. I confronted my now ex-fiancé. He was sleeping with my sister and my entire family knew. He asked for the ring back, so I think he'll propose to my sister with the ring he proposed to me with. And if that happens, I'll be obligated to be my sister's maid of honor. I'm done with his height for now. Thanks for your support. Next story. Am I the a-hole for hiding my pregnancy from my husband and my mother-in-law? I, 25 female, have been married to my husband, 28 male, for 3 years. My husband, I will call Joel, and I met in college and got married very young. We have both always dreamed of having a big family, and I have always wanted to be a stay-at-home mother. Joel and his mom have always been close, but it wasn't until recently that I noticed how unsettling their relationship truly is. For starters, Joel's mom, I will call her Amy, has always been insanely protective of him. Although he is fully an adult man, Amy only refers to Joel as, "Hey, baby boy." Amy insisted on having the first dance with Joel at our wedding, and because she was paying for most of it, I let her have that, but put my foot down when she suggested that she should wear a cream-colored dress as mother of the groom. Amy lives in our neighborhood and has made a habit of showing up unannounced and inviting herself into all aspects of our lives. A few months ago, I found out that I was pregnant with our first baby, but just a few months in, I tragically lost the pregnancy. Before the miscarriage, Joel and I had been over the moon. Amy was so excited to be a grandmother, but some of her actions made me uncomfortable and angry. For starters, she insisted that she come to all of the appointments for the baby. When we first heard our baby's heartbeat, she jumped up out of her chair and snatched Joel's hands and began to cry with excitement. Joel threw his arms around her, pointing out her grandbaby's heartbeat, while I was left sitting there on my own. Although it was still early in the pregnancy, Amy proposed throwing her own grandbaby shower in order to get supplies for the baby to be kept at her house. I tried to shut this down, but Joel once again defended his mom. When I felt the first kicks and movement, she ran over and nearly shoved my hand out of the way to try and feel. My final straw was after I lost the baby. I was devastated. Luckily, Amy was not over when I began noticing issues, and Joel and I were able to go to the hospital alone. But after calling his mom to tell her what was happening, Amy showed up at the hospital and cried so loudly Joel had to escort her out of the hospital and comfort her in her car. Once again, I was left there alone. This broke me. Although Joel has apologized profusely and said that he regrets leaving me, I have had a hard time finding forgiveness for that moment. I have to emphasize, other than his unusual relationship with his mother, our relationship has been nearly perfect. After the miscarriage, though, I started sleeping in the guest room and taking more time for myself to sort out my thoughts and decide where to go from here. Everything was fine until a few months ago, I had a few too many glasses of wine at a friend's wedding and ended up spending the night back in our main bedroom. I started to notice the same familiar changes in my body from my first pregnancy, which terrified me. I finally took a test and stared at the little plus in disbelief. Although I want to be a mother more than anything, I couldn't help but still feel the same feelings from my last pregnancy. Maybe it was the wrong choice, but I chose not to tell Joel right then. I booked an appointment and went to the doctor and found out that I was about 6 weeks pregnant already. This is where I may be the a-hole. That was about 3 months ago, and I still haven't told Joel. I am now 18 weeks pregnant and just started showing more, and I have taken to just wearing big sweatshirts and baggy clothes around the house. I have loved being pregnant and not having to share the spotlight with Amy. This week, I felt the first little flutters of the baby moving and didn't have to share it with anybody else. In just a few weeks, I can learn his or her gender and not risk having to throw a grandbaby gender reveal for my mother-in-law. Maybe most importantly, God forbid anything were to happen to the pregnancy again, I would rather handle it alone than have to deal with consoling her. But now, I don't know where to go from here. Obviously, I can only keep this up for so long, but how do I explain to Joel that I have been hiding the pregnancy from him for months? Should I just run away and start a new life? Mostly kidding. Or am I already in too deep, so I might as well just keep hiding it for as long as possible and not have to share my moments with anyone else? I love my husband and I don't want to leave him, but I don't know how I can save the situation and our marriage. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. So your husband went off to go comfort his mother outside while you were crying over your miscarriage? Seems like he will always have his priority be his mom. After that, it seems like a smart move not to tell them. If Opie was already feeling the baby, it sounds like a late-stage miscarriage or premature stillborn situation. That's messed up that he left her at all. He'd find out about this pregnancy after I brought the baby home. To my new home, because I'd be divorced. You need to get to counseling ASAP. Arrange for both individual and couples counseling. You can tell your husband about the pregnancy and why you hid it with a mediator present. Your husband is a mama's boy. You might want to get a copy of When He's Married to Mom by Ken Adams and have it handy for him. Be aware that resetting that type of relationship is very difficult and can only happen with a lot of work on his part. You've been sleeping in a different room and he hasn't taken any initiative to fix things. That's not a good sign. I second this. In fact, I suggest you go for a couple sessions on your own first and then bring your husband into a session and tell him about your pregnancy then. He needs to know that you have been hiding your pregnancy as a result of his and his mother's actions during your previous pregnancy. You and your husband are at a crossroads, and whether you both stay together will be determined by how much he's willing to make changes and put mommy in her place. Good luck. I think she needs to have an alternate living place arrangement before she tells her husband, because he will not be able to keep his mouth shut or control his mother. He will immediately start talking about how glad his mom will be. When she tells him about the baby, she should also tell him that if he repeats his previous performance, including his mom at every step, one of them will have to leave the house. At the very least, she has to get the locks changed to prevent her from popping in at will. Next story. Am I the a-hole? I took my baby and left home after my husband kept making jokes about my body. So, my husband started making indirect jokes about my body and shape ever since I gave birth to our son. At first, I didn't mind a silly joke here and there, but it escalated, and he started doing in front of friends and family. Last week, we were invited by his mom to celebrate at her home. He casually made an offensive joke about my body, and that was the last straw for me. We got home and we started arguing. I recorded our conversation, and this is how it went. Me, can we talk about what happened at dinner tonight? Him, he was checking his phone, responding nonchalantly. What is there to talk about? It was just a joke. Me, a joke? You think making fun of my body in front of your family is funny? I've just had our baby, and I'm still adjusting to everything. Your comments hurt. You know that, right? Him, come on, it was just a little banter. Everyone laughed. Besides, if you had gotten the husband stitch like I suggested, maybe it wouldn't be such a big deal. Me, I was staring at him in disbelief after this comment. So now it's my fault? I'm the one to blame for your insensitive jokes? Is that really how you feel? Him, I'm just saying things could be different. You chose not to do it. I thought you wanted to feel good again. It's not like I'm trying to hurt you. I just want us to have a good sex life again. After that, we kept going back and forth and ended up taking the baby and moving out. He began complaining about how I took his son away from him, how I was punishing him using our son, etc. His family interjected and told me I can't do this to him. It's been days, and he's still complaining about what I did, calling it overreaction and saying that I was taking my frustration out on him. Now for the top comments. My daughter's gynecologist told me a story about the one guy that asked if she was going to give his wife an extra stitch. She told him to drop his pants so she could see just how many stitches it would take to make a difference for him. He shut up and never spoke to her again. I'm a nurse, and this is very close to how my favorite OBGYN would respond to that joke from dads. What does that request tell us about your anatomy? Thankfully, I only heard this situation twice in all my years in that specialty. Nope. The husband stitch is a huge freaking nope. Even if he wasn't awful about your body, that alone is divorce-worthy. Don't go back. Block his family. Not a-hole. First of all, the husband stitch is an absolute heinous thing, and I hope whoever started that trend, be it an OB or an obnoxious husband, gets penis cancer. It's almost always painful for the woman afterward, because it isn't meant to be that size. It's meant to heal back the way it was. Second, he's making fun of your body because he's mad you wouldn't get a husband stitch? That's just a level of emotional abuse I can't even fathom. Throw that man in the freaking ocean. How in the heck did you ever marry this cretin? Never mind make a baby with him? Surely this isn't the first time he showed his true colors as a rude, insensitive bore. Did he honestly joke about your vagina in front of his family? The crap about the husband stitch is just gross. I have a friend who it was done to after her second child, and sex was actively painful for months, and she didn't understand why, until she finally went to a gynecologist who discovered that the husband stitch had been poorly done, and had actually made a vaginal opening smaller than before, and the scar was being painfully stressed every time they had sex. And anyway, what does the husband stitch have to do with your body recovering from pregnancy? It doesn't automatically make you slim and make your perk up. Lawyer up, girl. It's going to be a bumpy ride. His emotional abuse is cruel and uncalled for. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not caring about my ex-husband's feelings at my daughter's wedding? My divorce was finalized 2 years before my middle daughter got married. My ex-husband already had a new girlfriend lined up, and the day the judge signed the divorce papers, he asked the girls if they were okay with him dating again. Mind you, he moved to another state, and the girls wouldn't have even known he was dating. He invited the girls to his new place for a weekend, and when they got there, his new girlfriend was there. My daughters were uncomfortable and upset that he had not intended to spend any time with them without his new girlfriend in attendance. After that, he began to distance himself from our 3 daughters, and soon started a new family. He was remarried within 8 months, and the first child was born the following year. I made sure to maintain a good relationship with the girls as much as I could. They were all grown and either living on their own or in college. When one of my daughters told me that she was getting married and wanted me, and not her father, to walk her down the aisle, I was overjoyed. I was in the moment and did not care at all how this would affect her father. He chose to not help out with the wedding at all, and then told her that his buying a plane ticket to be at the wedding was her wedding gift. At the wedding, he and his new family were sat at the far end of the first row of seats. I had a first seat, and their table was mixed in with the other guests. My table was right next to the head table. After I walked my daughter down the aisle, I looked at him and smiled as big as I could. I know it bothered him that she chose me and not him. As long as my daughter was happy on her special day, nothing else matters. I'm interested to know if I am the a-hole. I am also interested to know how dads might feel if their ex-wives were chosen over them to walk their daughter down the aisle. Not a-hole, just a line about how him being at the wedding was his wedding present just sums up this guy. He did nothing to help, just showed up, and he abandoned his daughter. Thank God you got a divorce. He really showed where his priorities lie. You did what was best for your daughter, and it's great that you were there to support her on such a special day. He made his choice, and you shouldn't feel bad about celebrating your relationship with your daughter. Certainly not the a-hole. Enjoy that triumph. And while I would never be that guy, your ex sounds a lot like an old coworker. Same story, had a family, was an a-hole, divorced, moved a ways away, remarried, new family, still an a-hole. Oldest daughter got married. He wasn't even invited. He complained about it for a couple days, then moved on because he was still busy with a new family. Don't let that take any triumph away though. He's still the a-hole in the story. Old family, new family, same a-hole.